Text the word radio to 83393.
Is this the tether?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Rough night for the Dodgers in San Diego. They got pounded 11-1. The Padres had 16 hits off 3 Dodgers pitchers. The Dodgers and Padres wrap up their 3-game series today with a day game. First pitch at 1:10. The Angels beat Oakland 2-1 in 10 innings. First baseman Nolan Shanaway delivered the game-winning hit in the 10th. The Angels and Oakland also have a day game today. First pitch at 1:07 in Anaheim. Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh confirmed Tuesday that he had 2 surgeries in the offseason, a hip replacement and a cardiac ablation to help his heart maintain a normal heartbeat. The 61-year-old Harbaugh has had episodes of an irregular heartbeat. The NBA Finals resumes tonight in Indianapolis. It's Game 3 between the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers. The series is tied at 1-1. Tip-off tonight at 5:30 LA time on ABC. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
LA's newest soul food restaurant is getting spectacular reviews. Great place with amazing food. The Sunday champagne brunch is fabulous. I saw the place on IG. We tried it for lunch. We were blown away by the food and the service. The restaurant has an inviting atmosphere and a dynamic vibe. Over the years, Lionel has catered most major Black events in Los Angeles, including all of our KBLA Talk 1580 gatherings. But now he has his own spot, Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine, and you need to check it out at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles. Oxtails, baked or fried chicken, meatloaf, turkey chops, pork chops, catfish, short ribs, and all the fixins. Collard greens, mac and cheese, yams, red beans, black-eyed peas, and more. And of course, hot water cornbread, satisfying drinks, and delicious desserts. Lionel's is a great place for brunch, lunch, or dinner. If it's good enough for us, it's good enough for you, because we've got your black. So head on over to Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles and tell Lionel you heard about it on KBLA Talk 1580.
What is the world coming to? Seems like everyone is running from the truth. We need to stand up and fight, walk into the night. We're the people, we can do it if we try. I know we can do it. Somebody asked me, why do we have to go through it? It's just a test of our faith. But we're living day to day. We don't know where, we don't know when. But it's coming back again. Oh, yes, it is. It's made me. Oh, God, it's time for you to return. Oh, oh, see. I know. Time to make a change.
Yes, indeed. It is that time. Dr. Weston, I cannot get enough of our little theme opening. It is so jubilant. It just makes you want to rock. It is time, always time to make that change for justice. You are listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. We count it all joy per usual that we are all here together today. So much to cover. We got Mayor Bass enacts a curfew. Congresswoman Monica McIver was hit with federal charges. They're charging her for saying that she assaulted, assault charges. So we'll talk about that. And then, how this president is using military forces. I mean, it goes on. And this is going to continue to be a very big story as we move into Saturday, which is Flag Day, which is President Trump's birthday, and how he's bringing tanks in and military equipment being flown in from all over the country to the tune of that's $40 million. And then what he's doing in California is $134 million. And like I tell you, it just reminds me of some of those authoritarian regimes that we see in places like Russia and China to have this full display. And as Republicans are being asked about the parade itself, they can barely justify it, especially when you got a homeless or unhoused population among veterans. So we're bringing this to you because all of this stuff is happening in real time. And Dr. West and I always want to remind you that even though we understand what is happening, we must never lose hope and determination to change things. And so the eruptions that we see, or the use of the First Amendment to assemble and petition one's government, because I don't want to say eruptions, but the bubbling up of people that we see all over the country is really in response to how this government is comporting itself, and how people are just fed up. Doc, and they cannot no longer say that this is happening because of one political party or another. I mean, this has nothing to do with the Democrats. Democrats couldn't pull nothing off like this if they tried. They just ain't got the they ain't got the chutzpah to do it. They ain't got the nerves to do it. I believe that this is truly a bubbling up of people who are disgraced by what they are seeing, and some who also voted for President Trump. They did not vote for this. But here we are, Doc. You are in the house. What is on your heart, your soul, and your mind on this day?
Well, one, I just love your salute to the Winans and this magnificent song that's been introducing us now for nearly 6 months. They represent the best, so much of the best of Detroit, and so much the best of Black music and Black culture, because we have to keep our joy. We have to keep our sense of memory, and we have to keep our love and courage under all circumstances.
Yes.
Circumstance. I would go as far even to invoke the 5th chapter of Thessalonians, where my Bible tells me one should be thankful in all circumstances. That's what it means to pray unceasingly, which is to say that doesn't mean you deny the ugliness, deny the hatred, deny the terror, deny the trauma. No, it just means you counting your blessings because you glad you still have a self that is struggling, fighting, still loving against the hatred, against the oppression, against the trauma, against all the lies, against all the crimes. And so when I think of where we are right now, especially in beloved Los Angeles, I say to myself, what is it about LA? You know, it was August 1965 that really turned the corner on the 60s. That's Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Rodney King, 92. Los Angeles. 2025. That's Los Angeles. And there's so many things in between. Now, somebody grew up in Sacramento, you know, I got a bias toward California, but I've been on the East Coast for 50 years and living in Harlem now for many, many years. But LA is still the center of the empire when it comes to keeping track of the new tendencies and developments. And I think very much like our witnessing actual genocide in real time in Gaza and not being able to stop it. Right now, we're witnessing the implosion and the explosion of the U.S. empire, and we're going to see whether we can stop it or at least transform it in a much more progressive direction. But when you see Trump just out of control, the gangsterism just running amok.
Yeah.
And it's not just in Los Angeles. LA again becomes the center point. But you got what's happening in Gaza, what's happening in Sudan, the militarism all around the world, the militarizing that's at home, the corruption of the elites across the board, the helplessness of the citizens. So many young people not able to gain access to the best of who they are and what has gone into them in terms of their own tradition, in terms of their own history and heritage. It reinforces the worst in human beings, which is always the greed and the hatred, the cowardliness. It's always the envy and resentment rather than the courage, the compassion, the vision, the service to others, and highlighting the plight of the least of these, of the vulnerable and the weak, the oppressed, colonized and subjugated. And so where we are now is in so many ways just so undeniable in terms of what is happening before our very eyes. And Saturday is going to be a bigger manifestation of it.
It really is, Doc. You know, if I were one of them, I would just be ashamed of myself, but they are too unaware to be ashamed of turning other Americans against other Americans or against immigrants. Regardless, let's deal with a border, security. We can deal with all of those things, but you don't have to deal with those things this way. And what President Trump is doing is not making America any more secure. As a matter of fact, it makes us more vulnerable. That is really what he's wreaking havoc. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. When we come forward, we will continue this conversation.
Speaking truth to power and to the powerless. This is Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you. Love you.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-9651. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
To thine own self be true. More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner coming your way right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh yes, and do not forget that the 4-year anniversary for this network. I call it a network. this magnificent pro-black, pro-progressive network that our one and only brother Tavis Smiley has created, along with the amazing team, about to celebrate 4 years, Doc, and you are going to be there in the celebration. So will Jesse Jackson Jr. is going to be in the house, and a whole host of folks celebrating 4 years of magnificence and 4 years of bringing the news in a way that very few networks or radio stations would bring it.
That's the truth. And you can see that year after year after year, having the courage to speak against the grain. Sometimes that even includes having to criticize black folk and black leadership, but it's in deep black love. But it has a lot to do with just human beings across the board being in need of critique and correction, and ourselves being open to being critiqued and corrected.
That is it. And showing lots of love to the two communities in need. The Altadena outreach and coverage by far going deep and not allowing anybody to forget the residents of Altadena. And there are about 4 events happening. Please make sure that you go and sign up. And for the Juneteenth celebration, the barbecue part of the celebration, please bring a gift card of any amount if you can. And those gift cards are going to be shared with the residents of Altadena who are still suffering, even though the media is not other media outlets are not talking about it as much. The pain is still there and the promise is still there as well in terms of rebuilding. And Dr. West, again, I got to give it to Brother Tavis and others in the greater community who have come together to make sure that those residents have what they need, their basic necessities, and that they are not forgotten about. So as much as this is about the 4-year celebration or anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580, it is as much about giving back to the community as well.
Absolutely. I know they got Brother James Barr been doing a magnificent job keeping track on the ground, what's happening, always in touch with the humanity of those precious black folk in Altadena, no matter what the mainstream media has to say.
No matter what they have to say. And that is why it is so important that we have our own media outlets in the tradition of the Black press, where oftentimes it is the only place that you can go to get news that is seen through the lens of the Black experience.
That's exactly right.
Happy anniversary, KBLA Talk 1580, baby. We love you. We love you. Even putting a little icing on that, Doc, you and I are here, but that love expands beyond us having truth time. So please, please, please join in and support the network, support the radio station. So, Doc, the New Jersey Democrat Congresswoman LaMonica McIver was indicted on federal charges. This particular reporting that we've been looking at the news articles, with this one in particular coming from CBS News, and they're saying that she's being charged with assault on federal law enforcement officers during a clash. This happened last month. We covered this. The mayor of New Jersey was there. The Congress. So let me back up. Congress members do have a right to inspect federal facilities or facilities operating under the auspices of the federal government, and they do not have to get the permission of the president to go visit. They are supposed to be allowed in. They don't have to make an appointment. The tensions are so thick that these facilities are not operating the way that they should. And Congress members are being treated like they just average people off the street. These facilities are not adhering to the rules and what is supposed to happen. So there are about 3 Congress members, and then Mayor Raz Baraka was there, and the Congress members were trying to protect him. People may remember he was arrested. Charges were filed on him as well. Those charges have subsequently been dropped, but now there are charges against the Congresswoman saying that she assaulted agents of Homeland Security. Now, she has come out and said she is going to plead not guilty and that this is an overreach by the Trump administration, and what they are doing is meant to intimidate her and also send a chilling effect to anybody else that does not have an extra special title. Now, the charge is being filed by Haba, and she is a close Trump ally, and it's important to understand that she also served as his personal attorney in his New York criminal trial. So you can connect the dots, you can follow the breadcrumbs, and ask yourself the question, is this fair or is this political revenge?
Yeah, I'm thoroughly convinced that it's a mobilizing and weaponizing of the Department of Justice. to target certain folk. And I was just with Brother Ras Baraka twice in the last 2.5 weeks or so, and I hope he did marvelously yesterday. I've still got to check and see in the election running for governor. But he, as well as the fellow Congress sister, were in no way involved in any kind of assault or attack. We've seen the video. You see, it's just all intimidation. Brother Tavis's wonderful interview with the mayor this morning, Sister Karen Bass, when she talked about in the 60s, they had these agent provocateurs who were always embedded within certain contexts to try to get people to do and say certain things, try to provoke them, try to intimidate them. Well, now with the Trump administration seems to have its own networks of various agents of provocation and intimidation. And that this is certainly one. I'm glad that she has the courage to tell the world that she knows she's not guilty. I just hate that she has to go through all of this. And the very fact that she's a congresswoman, good God Almighty, it's just trying to set people up as examples to keep everybody else so fearful and scared and intimidated.
That's exactly right. And even if she prevails, the amount of time and money, she has to spend money to defend herself. So the interim New Jersey U.S. Attorney, Alina Habba, because I only said her last name at first, so I want to put her in context, is the one that brought these charges against the Congresswoman. And she is the one that served as a personal attorney for President Donald J. Trump during his New York trials. Now, certainly not out of the ordinary for a president or a political figure to elevate people who have been in their orbit. It's not out of the ordinary. So Dr. West and I would never say that. What is out of the ordinary, I won't even say it's out of the ordinary. What should not be accepted is for political figures to use their position to seek out revenge in this way against people who may hold different political views. And the reason why I corrected myself, Doc, and we centering Donald J. Trump for what he's doing right now, he has to be responsible for his actions. But we certainly know throughout the course of American history that both Democrats and Republicans have weaponized their power. And that's why I kind of stepped back, because you and I have never been one of those. It is a systemic failure. It's a human failure, the human need to be puffed up and to seek revenge. And number two, it is absolute power corrupting absolutely. And that expands beyond the Republican side of the political ledger.
That's exactly right. I mean, the Democrats have their own versions of weaponizing the Department of Justice and targeting various people of high quality, tremendous integrity. We know that. That's just a fundamental case, and I won't even get into that when it comes to Los Angeles. So we've seen this on both sides of the political spectrum in terms of political parties. But the thing is that we want to be morally consistent, and we want people to know that when people are not guilty, they're not guilty. When people are weaponizing, they're weaponizing. No matter who they are, it's wrong, it's unjust, it's immoral, and we will not put up with it.
Not at all. And we're going to tell the truth here on Truth Time. So to the Congresswoman and her team, lifting them up, please, if you have family and friends in New Jersey who maybe even the Congresswoman represents, you guys show her some love. If you utilize social media, a lot of times that energy, it might not be anything that you can do as an individual, but collectively, we can be prayed up. Collectively, we can send positive energy towards her. Collectively, there are things that we can do to let the Congresswoman know that we know exactly what's going on in this situation, and that people are just not going to stand by and let this happen. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And I do believe, Doc, and we play this clip all the time, a lot of times in the intro, outros of our show, that really truth crushed down to the earth. It will rise again. It's just a matter of time. Sometimes it rises quickly and sometimes it rises slowly, but make no mistake about it, it will rise again. And this moment in our collective American and world history will be exposed for what it is.
That's exactly right. I mean, the flip side of what you just said is no lie can live forever. No set of crimes can remain hidden forever. Sooner or later, you're going to have to come to terms with it. God is not mocked. What you say.
So shall you reap. Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm not just absolutely disgusted by it. I think people should be disgusted by it. We just can't sit back and allow these kinds of things to happen without being discussed by it. So speaking of discussing thing, what also is in connection with as we move into Flag Day on Saturday, and President Donald J. Trump's birthday, and how he is utilizing the power of the people again to stoke more fear, to show his authoritarian nature by having all these tanks and military weapons rolling through the capital of the United States of America, which is the District of Columbia. Not only is it a total waste of money, Dr. West, there's a deeper message that President Donald J. Trump is sending, I believe, both internationally and domestically.
And part of the message that Trump doesn't even realize he's sending is his conception of greatness has 98% to do with military might and ain't got doodly squat to do with moral substance. And if all you can depend on is your military might, then it's clear that your empire is falling. Because if you don't have spirit, if you don't have morality, if you don't have spirituality, if you don't have legitimacy, then all you can follow is brute force and raw power. And brute force and raw power never, ever is enough.
Yeah, it has its limits, even though it doesn't feel that way in the moment. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. When we come forward, we'll continue to talk about what is happening in LA, across this country, and the impact that it has on all of us.
The truth will set you free, but first it might raise your blood pressure.
I'm not driving you, baby.
More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. A body believed to be a young black child, 2-year-old Montrell Williams, was found in the East River in New York near the Whitestone Bridge. His father, now a person of interest, refused to say where the boy was and is being held without bail.
This was a troubling series of events.
Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams has weighed in as the NYPD and family had searched for days. Black U.S. Rep. LaMonica McIver has been federally indicted for allegedly assaulting officers during an incident at a Newark ICE detention center. She's accused of interfering as agents tried to arrest Black Mayor Ras Baraka. And survivors of the deadly Sapelo Island dock collapse in Georgia are suing the company that built it. 7 people died and nearly 40 fell into the water during a Gullah Geechee celebration last October. Black civil rights attorney Ben Crump is representing several victims' families. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
1 year from today, the 2026 Soccer World Cup is scheduled to jump off here in Los Angeles. People from around the world will be in LA for at least a month for one of the premier events in all of sports. With LA facing turmoil from immigration protests and soldiers on the streets, what will LA look like a year from now? Will people from so many countries feel comfortable coming to the U.S.? LA has a year to get ready for a major sporting event and a major economic windfall. Will that be enough time for LA to move past the trauma in recent days and be the positive destination World Cup officials are hoping for? The New York Knicks are having a hard time with their process to hire a new coach. After firing Tom Thibodeau 2 weeks ago, they have been denied permission to talk with 3 coaches: Jason Kidd at Dallas, Ime Udoka at Houston, and Chris Finch at Minnesota. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. Let's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. SMP volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an SMP open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
Attention. If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance. And you better watch out, because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
I'm back. Indeed, and we are back. How do we keep our joy in the face of all that is happening in our nation and in our world? We're keeping you up to date and sharing our thoughts about what is happening, the authoritarian nature of what President Donald J. Trump is doing, how it is impacting both us individually and also collectively, how the chilling effects of absolute power are used against citizens, even those with extra special titles. Doc, it is just so apropos that we always wrap up by saying titles are good, but purpose is better, because we're seeing that this president is coming after people who have some of the highest titles in the country that cannot shield them from him really being a bully and his ego is just all over the place. I mean, he's worse than a toddler, and that's an insult to toddlers. Let me just back up and say to all the toddlers of the world, I ain't mean no harm. I ain't mean no harm, but this is serious. And this wake-up call, I hope that as people are waking up to this brute in our face force, that we understand collectively that there have always been flashpoints in the history of this country where some president has comported themselves, maybe not exactly this way, but certainly has abused power to cause people to have fear. I mean, even when I think about the Iraqi war and some of the tactics that were used against people who wanted peace. And I think was it Congresswoman Bass at the time? Like, only one congressperson,
Sister Barbara out of Oakland.
Yes, voted against it. I remember when the Dixie Chicks, a female singing group, spoke out against it, and their sales, their concert attendance, the sales of their songs went down. People called them traitors and all manner, called them women everything but child of God, because they had the courage of foresight. And now turns out that they were absolutely right. So again, I mean, Doc, we can give, I don't know what other examples come to mind. We're sharing this just to say, even though this moment is troubling and heavy, it is not the only time in our country's recent and especially past history where intimidation and political power and brute force. Don't get us started about talking about the 1950s and the 60s, because anytime Black folks raise up to fight for liberation, we were always met with government force. Every time.
Every time. And COINTELPRO meant that they were willing to send some bullets targeting some of our beloved folk. And so it's very clear that that kind of repression goes hand in hand with the history of the country. So we shouldn't be surprised by these contemporary forms of repression that take the form of intimidation and provocation, manipulation and lies, and of course in the end just vicious physical attacks as well. I'm sure that those will escalate, definitely. But you know, the thing I think it's also important to keep in mind, we think of where we are presently, is that there is a consistent and constant cloud of witnesses who are willing to pay the price and bear the burden and tell the truth and seek the justice. And the zero in on their work, their witness, their service, their willingness to sacrifice more than any time we need to zero in on. We really do.
Yeah, we do. And there's some incredible folks out there, even in the face of all this, even Congresswoman LaMonica, knowing full well what could happen. You have people who have taken to the streets and they're doing so peaceably, knowing that there could be a consequence for it. We certainly have seen footage of police, unfortunately. You know, they carry the militarization spirit as well. It doesn't have to be military force to have a mentality of shooting rubber bullets and all that kind of stuff. But people are still out there lifting their voices and talking about, making it clear that what is happening in this country right now is wrong. Want to go to our chat on the tube, Doc. We got B. Bell of Bad Dog Bullies. Lunch and liberation time. Good afternoon, truth warriors. Good afternoon, B. Bell. Blessed peacemaker in the house. Greetings and much love, warriors. Selena Ricks, where you been, Sister Selena? I haven't seen Sister Selena in our chat, Doc. We missed her. So glad that she is back. Bravo. It's truth time. Amen. Exclamation point, hand clap emojis, and the prayer emoji. We're glad to have you back in the house, sis. Andrea G., good afternoon. It is vital to stay spiritually aligned, especially these days.
That's exactly right. In times like these, we all need an anchor. You got to be sure, very, very, very sure that your anchor holds.
That's it. If it don't hold, it ain't much of an anchor.
We ain't lying.
Yeah. We got to do that. We have and so Selena and so the community, they talk back and forth to each other, which I think is a beautiful thing. And then Sister Selena further writes, calling on our ancestors for strength for the fight. Amen.
Yes. No, that's a profound insight.
It is the past, the present, and the future. God knows we need those ancestors. Stan Williams in the house. We have to create good trouble. You know, that was a famous quote by Congressman John Lewis, making good trouble. We have to create good trouble. If our ancestors didn't fight, we still be in bondage. We still be dealing with Jim and Jane Crow. We still not have the franchise or franchisement. So Brother Stan is absolutely right. We can't lose sight of, in the current day fight, the battles that we have won. But the thing is that this is the thing. We can't get so comfortable thinking that the past battles that we have won, they're never always forever, because there's always going to be an opposite force trying to pull us back. And we're seeing that right now.
That's exactly right. Angela Davis said, freedom is an endless struggle. Moments of liberation, but freedom is an endless struggle. She's absolutely right about that.
Yeah, amen. And then a local pastor here, he's emeritus now, but Reverend Otis Moss Jr. And I think Reverend Otis Moss III, he's a preacher now too. I forget what city he's in, but
yeah, Trinity.
Yeah. Where is he, Doc?
He's at Trinity Church. He's at Jeremiah Wright's old church.
Okay.
Morehouse brother.
Yeah. Well, his dad, here in Cleveland, and Reverend Otis Moss Jr. has a saying. I think it goes something like, "The struggle is forever, so we are forever in the struggle."
Ooh, good God Almighty! What a giant he is! Otis Moss Jr. still going at all the. Is it Mount Olivet?
Mount Olivet Institutional Baptist Church. Yes, we are forever in the struggle. The struggle is forever, so we are forever in the struggle. So profound, and I totally agree. We got Jesse Paris, aka Che Nakume. Peace and much love, Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner from Denver, Colorado. We are sending that peace right back to you. We have, I think that's Edie Marie. My apologies if I mispronounced your first name. What actions are folks demanding and demonstrating? That is such a good question. The people are demanding that, and they're out there. I don't know if you mean in this moment, but people are demanding fairness under the law. They're demanding that this president stop, using the power that he has and weaponizing it against the American people. And they're out there in the streets. I think certainly people like Governor Newsom, who I don't always agree with, but filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration and other things. So every day people are out there in the streets, and some elected officials are trying to figure out how through the legal system to be able to push back on what President Donald J. Trump is doing. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. When we come forward, we will continue this discussion.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. but you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hi, I'm LA City Councilman Curran Price, inviting you to join us on Saturday, June the 14th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we cut the ribbon on the brand new Cornel Woods Park at 8703 South McKinley Avenue. Thanks to a generous donation from Heal the Bay, the park features smart irrigation, stormwater capture systems, and space for local wildlife to thrive. And we've built a walking trail, picnic areas, native landscaping, and quiet spaces for families to gather, relax, and connect. This is part of a much larger effort to expand green spaces across South LA with 3 new parks in the works, a first-of-its-kind community center coming soon, and plans to connect it all through the South LA Greenway. So mark your calendar for Saturday, June 14th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and come celebrate a greener, stronger South LA at Cornel Woods Park. I'm also pleased to sponsor the Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium, moderated by Tavis Smiley, live on C-SPAN, Wednesday, June the 18th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Just a reminder to sign up right away at the KBLA1580.com website to join me, Mayor Karen Bass, Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager Dove, Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson, Dr. Cornel West, former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., the Sierra Club's Ben Jealous, and other Black influencers in the climate and health fields as we continue to amplify the connection between climate and poor health outcomes for our people. Thank you for listening. I'm Councilman Curran Price.
Truth crushed to earth shall rise again. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, you are, and we are so glad you are. Doc, I want to go deeper into what Sister Marie in asking and have your response to it when she asked, what actions are folks demanding and demonstrating? She goes on to say, we can't wait for history.
Lord. I think we got to look at our brothers and sisters in the street who are trying to bear witness to a sense of fairness and justice that's required for our precious immigrant brothers and sisters and siblings on 2 levels. One is the question of humane treatment. Now, humane treatment is not a specific policy. It is a recognition of the dignity and sanctity of each human person. And if you vilify and demonize immigrants or Black people or brown people or anybody, Palestinian, Jews, whoever it is, it's wrong. And the tone and the timbre of what's coming out of the gangsterized White House is one that has little to do with the dignity and sanctity of immigrants. It's hateful, it's vengeful, it's hostile, and it's inhumane before you even get to the policy.
Yes, sir. And it does nothing to keep us safe.
It
has nothing to do with securing the border.
And then the policy, you see, is a different thing. And this is where the debate takes place. How do you translate that humane treatment in such a way that you still acknowledge, the need for borders to be in place, the need for treating citizens who have been here for a long time fairly, so that the resources are not taken from them. This is a lot of Black folk think, well, what resources are going to be taken from Black folk and given to the new immigrants? And therefore you pit these various folk fighting for crumbs against each other. So that's a different kind of discussion, but we got to keep both levels operative, because you see, once you just allow hatred to run amok, I think that sooner or later it's not going to be on its way to your house.
That's it. We're linked. I mean, inextricably linked, whether we like it or not, or recognize it in real time. So I really thank Sister Edie Marie for posing those. We got Sister Rebecca in the house. She writes, Mayor Karen Bass needs to be held accountable for LAPD shooting on peaceful protesters and journalists, tear gas and rubber bullets. LAPD should be protecting people of LA and not ICE. So
Every elected official must be accountable. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. Very much so. And I mean, LAPD has a long history of being out of control, especially when it comes to black folk. There's no doubt about that. And I don't think we could ever expect one mayor, even our dear black sister Karen as mayor, to be able to fundamentally reshape and control every policeman. But if a policeman is out of control, he or she must be accountable. And it is the role of the mayor to make sure that those police are accountable. Very much so. That's true.
Accountability breeds trust or brings about trust. And when people feel like any force, especially a law enforcement force, are treating people unfairly, then it breeds distrust and resentment too. A lot of resentment. So the footage I saw, I was not happy about at all. And your point about how this mayor cannot do it alone, it's a both and. It's not an either or. But Sister Rebecca, we hear you clearly. That should not be happening. And there have been some in the law enforcement community have been clear that they're not going to turn on their federal citizens in the way that the president of the United States is stoking them to do so. So we got to remember, people in suits are sending law enforcement out to do what they're doing. You're listening to Truth Time, Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. When we return, we'll continue this conversation.
A safe place to go loud.
A great place for progressive politics.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Psst, honey, what? Shh, there's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do?
Get down.
Down?
On the floor, you.
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy, but with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah. The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
Yes, and we are so glad that you're here. Doc, a lot of, conversation about, LA. This is not the first time, as you laid out, in terms of how the police comport themselves and be bail of bad dog bullies. As a Los Angeles native, what we are witnessing is a replaying of colonial slave raids. So drawing the similarity between actions we see now and the actions of law enforcement of the past.
That's very real. That's very real. No, those kind of parallels are always mindful. They keep us mindful of just how barbaric repression is, whatever form it takes and whatever context it takes.
Yeah.
But forever reminded of the genius of Sly Stone when he said, "Everybody is a star." That means each and every one of us. I'm talking about the black folk in LA. I'm talking about the Mexican folk. I'm talking about the Palestinians and the Jews and the Arabs and the Muslims and the white folk. It's a human thing. Sly Stone understood that, learned it from St. Andrew's Church of God in Christ, and took it out to the world with his artistic genius.
To the world. And for those who may not know, Brother Sly Stone passed away, and Dr. West and I have been lifting him ever since we got the news. So just a brilliant, brilliant man, a brilliant band of people who brought a lot of love and creativity to music, as Black people often do. We have Pastor Harold in the chat over several posts. He's saying that sometimes people forget because it's easy. And I believe he's making reference to basically, we've been here before. Black people have been through this kind of things, whether it's incarceration, violence, and that people shouldn't forget so easily that we've been here before. I'm paraphrasing the pastor, but I think I'm capturing the essence of what he's putting down. We got Hip Hop Cafe, Peace to the Love Warriors from the BX. We have Michael Casada. Thanks for all you do. Peace be unto you, or be with you. Loving that. We need a lot of that. We need peace. And Morris Phillips is in the house. In all things, get an understanding, including of the greatest purveyor of war, America. In all things, get understanding.
That's what Martin King said. My own government is the greatest purveyor of violence. In April 3rd, 1967, and still relevant.
Yeah. That's what makes me sad, Doc. But I do pull hope in that there are iterations of people, everyday people, putting a little extra on their ordinary so that extraordinary things can happen, so that change can come in every single generation. There's an opposite force to this kind of oppression. And thank God there always is. Well, I cannot believe it. Dr. Weston, I want you to live on purpose, live your purpose. Understand that titles are good, but purpose is better. Baby, you don't want to miss Teach-In Thursday tomorrow, where Dr. West and I lift up the magnificent genius of the one and only Sam Cooke. Until next time.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.